there, I am Tiffany Ramm, and I am a success and resilience coach. What that means is that I help people heal from burnout and prevent future burnout. Yes, I am a therapist with over 15 years of experience in social services. I've served over 3,000 clients. I've also been a nonprofit founder and executive director. So I have a ton of experience working with people, and this is what I'm passionate about, helping high achievers, overachievers, heal their current burnout and prevent future burnout. And so that being said, today I wanted to bring you 3 myths about self-care. So a lot of people think they know about self-care nowadays, right? Which is a good thing. This is the era of information about mental health and mental health care and wellness. And so a lot of us have heard the term self-care. And so today I want to kind of debunk some myths, misunderstandings of self-care, because they're really helpful for us to understand when we're trying to treat current burnout and prevent future burnout. We need a much better understanding of self-care and how it can really work for us to heal the current burnout and to prevent future burnout. So, myth number 1, you can't do too much self-care. Well, you can. So here's the deal. Often, especially high achievers, overachievers tend to be people who do things in excess. And so with that being said, they probably do too much self-care. And when we do that, it just becomes another thing on our to-do list that we need to check off. And so it doesn't actually serve its purpose, which is its intent and result. Its intent is to get us grounded, to keep us present, to help us recover and relax. And it just becomes another thing, adding to our overwhelm. And so, yes, you can do too much self-care. And how do we know that, right? Maybe you are exercising, daily, or getting massages weekly, or getting your facial, right? Well, the problem is, again, if it's not getting you grounded, helping you stay present, and you're feeling relaxed at the end of it, or at least, at peace, it has probably lost its position, right? If you're not able to get out of it the intent, which is to help you be more patient, less irritable, right? Increased empathy. That's what self-care is for. It's prevention. Not a coping skill. Very 2 different intentions there, right? Self-care is preventative. If your self-care activities have now just become another thing on your to-do list, then yeah, we probably need to adjust, right? How you're using self-care, how you're activating your self-care. Also exercise. Exercise is one thing, especially with high achievers, overachievers, they tend to do excessive exercise or too much high intensity exercise. So people are like, how can you do too much? Because your body needs to recover, it needs to rest. And so in this case, if you're listening and you're wondering like, what's the guideline? What do you mean? Unless you're a professional athlete, and then there's very specific things we do for people who kind of have to overtrain. And even they get very special guidelines for rest and recovery. But unless you're in that unique situation, and even then, please come talk to me. We make a unique, specific plan, right? A customized plan for you. But the general guideline is you should only be doing like actual true high intensity training 3 to 4 days a week. You in fact do need recovery days to get the best out of those high intensity days. Your body needs time to recover and drop its cortisol levels, because high intensity training actually does spike our cortisol levels, those stress hormones in our body. So you should only really be doing truly high intensity exercise 3 to 4 days a week. And then sprinkle in there low and moderate, right? So yeah, if you do a 20 to 30 minute walk every day, rock on, right? And if it's meeting the intention, which is I'm being present, I'm outside in nature, it's calming me down, all those things, right? But true high intensity workouts should only be happening about 3 to 4 days a week, or you're actually spiking the cortisol levels. So yes, myth number 1 debunked is that you can in fact do too much self-care, because then it may actually lose its value or intention. And not give you the result you're looking for. So myth number 2 is actually that self-care is an action or activity. Yeah, no. Sometimes self-care is actually the opposite of that. Often self-care is inaction or inactivity, right? Sometimes and often the self-care you need is to rest, right? Or be present. and more importantly, to sleep. Okay, so often to optimize your burnout recovery and burnout prevention, we will optimize what is your ideal sleep, right? So not always just 8 hours, not just 8 hours, right? But for often most people, somewhere between 6 and 9 hours is your optimal amount of sleep needed for recovery, for your brain to shed some of its old neurons and kind of rejuvenate, for your skin to shed itself and rejuvenate. So most people need 6 to 9 hours. We determine what is your sweet spot, right? To feel rested and recovered. If there's supplements you need to do that, right? Inactivity. And so sleep is one of the best self-care things you can do. Not too much, not too little. And then also to optimize when you sleep and your sleep hygiene. And so no, it's not just 10 p.m. is your bedtime and 6 a.m. is your wake up time. It's nothing that templated, right? Each one of us has a very specific lifestyle and routine, and that means you have a very specific time when sleep is gonna really be optimal for you. Okay, so no. Myth number 2 is not that self-care is an activity or an action you have to take, right? And so just know that oftentimes your self-care is going to be doing less instead of doing more, okay? And then the third one is that self-care is some kind of specific regimen or routine or interval or frequency. You gotta do daily, you gotta do weekly, you gotta do monthly. The reality is every different person has different interests, access and ability to certain self-care. And so your self-care is gonna be very different based on your needs and what your hobbies and interests are. And so yeah, there's little small routine things you should probably try to activate daily, anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes, nothing grandiose. No one needs to join a hot yoga for 60 minutes a day. Okay. Yeah, more than likely people are gonna have weekly, monthly, semi-annual, annual things that help them rejuvenate more on a long-term basis. But just know there's no perfect interval, right? You don't have to do certain things daily. You don't have to do certain things monthly. Everybody's kind of combination is going to be specific to them. Now, there are certain strategies that are kind of go-to that activate the brain and neurology best. Most all of these strategies only take between 5 and 10 minutes, which is good news for people who are tight on time. So just know the 3 myths is that you can, in fact, do too much. 2 is that it's not an action or an activity. You don't have to do something to do self-care. Oftentimes, the best thing you can do is sleep. And number 3 is not a specific interval of frequency. It's gonna be specific to you and your interests. If you found this helpful, please leave a comment below. Let me know. Specifically, just say helpful in the comments, okay? So I wanna see your helpful comments. If this was helpful for you, let me know. Also, you can find me on my website. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want more information, because we're gonna continue to give you tips and break down myths and misconceptions so you can help heal your burnout if you have it, or prevent it for the future. And again, you can always come to my website, book a call with me if you need further help.